Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another black powder update. Before you can see what I've been up to in the last just over a week since I finished my last battalion. Now I think I did actually mention that I'd probably be doing a tidy up and doing some more command figures in between starting my next battalion, and that's basically what I did. I actually tidied up the first battalion of these chaps, and they didn't actually take very long to do. It was literally more or less just their backpacks and some of the gold that needed updating, so it was really quite quick. And of course the command figures, again, I did in about I think I actually finished all of it in less than 2 sessions, which is probably about maybe, I don't know, maybe I was sort of faffing around doing other stuff as well. So maybe like six hours-ish, something like that, to finish both of them over 2 days. Yeah, they came out pretty quick. And of course the battalion I did afterwards, again, those guys took the average like 4 days-ish. I actually came into the evening last night and actually finished off basing them. I actually finished painting the last 4 command figures yesterday morning, and I based them during the afternoon, and then I left them until I think it was about just after I finished having tea, which was about 7 o'clock-ish, and I just popped in and based them. So I did actually finish them off properly yesterday. Plans for this video: show you the command figures, show you the battalion in a pretty fairly quick style. Hopefully the video won't be too long, and you can actually watch all of it without having to skip it. So let's get going. Let's start off with the colonel that I did. Now this guy is the colonel of the next battalion, the 86th. And he is Colonel Claude Joseph Pelsiere, and he's a really nice figure actually. He's actually the mounted colonel that you get in a battalion pack of Elite, and he's a really nice figure. I think I showed him to you when he was undercoated, but he painted up really well, and I was very happy with him. So that is the colonel of the 86th, and that is all the colonels done now as far as infantry go. Then next up we have a couple of generals de brigade. Again, these chaps are the 2 brigade commanders for the 11th. So I think this guy's the first brigade commander. Let's try and get the light down a little bit more. So this chap is, let's get his blurb out. So this chap is General Brigade Baron Francois Bertrand Dufour, and yeah, a very nice figure. I can't remember who this chap actually is in reality, because of course all the Perry's guys are actually named officers. Or named personalities, and of course you can't get 3rd Corps guys at all, so I've had to use, I think I've used just about every command figure you can get within this division, within this corps, sorry. So this is the 1st Brigade chap, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got a nice, his base turned out, I did a similar sort of thing, with the grass and the normal flocking. And yeah, very regal looking. Got a couple of medals, Delusion d'honneur there, along with the Medal for Bravery, and I can't remember what that green medal is. But again, it's kind of like a sort of some sort of bravery medal. So this chap's obviously got his rank through doing valorous activities. And then we have the 2nd Brigade Commander. Now this chap is actually using the figure of the guy who's normally Kellerman. Now this guy is normally the Reserve Cavalry Corps, the Cavalry Corps commander, and he's been severely demoted down to a brigade commander, and I think I took one of his like orders off his chest, which basically a brigade commander wouldn't have. But I left all his sort of his gold accoutrements because I just thought, well, you know, the uniforms are pretty much the same from that rank upwards. I mean, I'm sure when you get to sort of marshals, then sometimes they have like different jackets, surcoats. But this guy's just got a normal fancy jacket on, and there's no saying that this guy's not rich, and he's just got a flamboyant uniform. But other than that, he's got nothing more than what a normal brigade commander would have. You know, the blue shabrack, the all red silk scarf or whatever it is, or silk tie around his waist. So he's just, you know, he looks the part, or he looks over the part, but he is actually just a general brigade. And this guy is Baron Henry Jacques Martin Lagarde. And like I say, he's from the 2nd Brigade. So that's all the brigade, all the commanders done for this particular infantry division, the 11th. And now finally, to round this video off, we shall go in with the battalion. Now these chaps I started, well, 5 days ago, but I actually completed them yesterday. So they took me 4 days. Which is probably a sort of average speed I've been doing my last couple of divisions at. I guess it's because I'm getting highly motivated towards finishing them. And these guys are the Calpe battalion that I've had in. I've actually had these guys for quite a while. I think this is now my 4th battalion of Calpe within my within 3rd Corps. And of course the last. So I always enjoy painting the Calpe, and I did actually get in a few different choice figures this time as well, just to make sure that I wasn't repeating. Now obviously some figures you can't help but repeat, but most of these chaps will probably be found within the other battalions, but there are a couple of different choices to get some different headed figures. So these are the Grenadiers. They're always great fun to paint, even when they've got just boring long coats on. They're still really good fun to paint, and I think that's part of the reason why you know, you actually finish them quite quickly, because they're just so motivational to you know, that they want to be painted, and it's quite hard not to sit there and paint. And most of these guys I finished in a session. Well, I think in a sort of an average session, which may be sort of like 6 to 8 hours at the moment, with sort of slightly sunnier weather we've been having. I'd generally, I always do the 2 elite companies first. So you know, you sort of start off with a group of 8 men, and by the time, I think it basically takes like just over a session to finish them off. Maybe a little bit more because you've got those 2 extra figures. But yeah, they are definitely really nice figures to paint, and they always look the part. So that is the Grenadiers. Then we have the 4th company, or the dump company as I call them, because I always tend to put the figures that I'm not so hot on onto the 4th company position. I suppose you could say, apart from perhaps the chap with the shaker on the shaker on his bayonet, and I decided to put him at the back just because I just want him to sort of stand out in the background. I don't particularly want him up front. And yeah, so we've got a mixture of headgear in there. We've got one without, one with his flat cap on, or a soft cap, and a covered and uncovered shako. That's the 4th company. Next up, the Voltigeur. So these guys are basically more or less carbon copies of the Grenadiers. as far as sort of positions go. They do have a few slight differences. Obviously they've got their horns, or at least 3 of them have got their horns on their cartridge boxes, and they've also some of them have got slightly different sobriquets. This chap here of course hasn't got one, and neither is this one. Again, come down to that factor that the 100 days voltigeurs weren't quite as flashy and elite as they perhaps once were, and they're more or less trained as to be used as light infantry within a normal line infantry battalion. And of course they have their blue trousers, and yeah, nice figures. So there's the voltigeur out of the way. Next up, the NCO stand, or the 3rd Company. So on this one we have a couple of, one of the alternate head sculpt figures. A chap with a wound on his head or eye. In this case I've made it his head. You can see where the blood stain is. I didn't want it to be like, too serious. Maybe he had an accident, or maybe he got injured doing something else, or maybe he just got clopped in the eye by an unwieldy fusilier in front or behind him. Who knows? Yeah, I kind of made it so that he wasn't like too seriously injured, and the fact that the bandage is over his eye is literally just because of the position of it on his head. It was just difficult to try and bandage, so it kind of ended up having to go over his eye a little bit. Yeah, a nice figure all the same. And we have some slightly different things in some of the backpacks here. We've got a pouch on that one, and you can see his shako there hanging as well. That was actually there as part of the sculpt and not put there by me. And then we have one of the expressive guys, egging the corporal, egging them on, and then of course the sergeant up front, barking some orders, maybe to keep the guy who's injured walking straight and maybe not veering off to the side because of his affected vision. So that is the NCO stand, or the 3rd Company. Next up, the drummer stand. Again, we have one of the unheaded, the alternate head guys. We have another expressive guy here, who again's made a corporal, and then the drummer, and another normal chap there, and of course the drummer has got an uncovered shako. And yeah, I quite like this the Calpe drummers. I think they're really nice sculpts. And then there's the 2nd Company. Now finally we have the command. So we have let's start off with the senior NCO here. So you can see this chap, he has got 2 service stripes, so he's quite a veteran sergeant. Then we have the Fanion bearer, who is also a sergeant with 5 years or 10 years, depending on I think they changed the sort of the length of time for service chevrons at some point. I think originally they were 10 years, and then they changed them to 5 years. And then of course his sergeant stripes there. We have the only figure that's not Calpe. I did actually forget about this guy. He's actually a Perry's from the officer's pack, and this particular guy I've actually had laying around for a long time. He's one of those officer figures that I never got used, and then I sort of mislaid him, and I came across him again. So he's been sitting in my sort of spares box, and I'm just waiting for a chance to use him. And I thought, well, I didn't actually have a second officer in this particular battalion because I didn't buy an extra officer's pack. The sort of the slightly different thing that you get with the Calpe packs is that when you buy the command pack, especially the battalion one, which comes with the Fanion holder, you actually get 2 extra sergeants, which are supposed to be like the equivalent of the Eagle Guard that would normally protect the flag bearer. So of course you get the extra sergeant rather than an extra officer, and of course that's always handy because you can use the sergeant on the NCO stand, and you've still got your sergeant for the senior sergeant for the command base. And of course I like the fact that the fanion bearer is also a marked up sergeant, which of course they generally were, because the fanion bearers were generally put there for doing something brave, and they'd either sometimes they can get promoted, sometimes they get just chosen to carry the fanion, and sometimes obviously both, and that also includes them becoming junior officers too, which is why some of my fanion bearers are actually junior officers. And of course the reason why I decided to put the Perry's guy in is because the commanding officer kind of looks quite young. So I thought, well, you know, if this guy's in his sort of like 30s, mid 30s, maybe late 30s, then the junior officer has got to look younger. And this particular Perry's guy looks perfectly young. You know, he looks like he's in his early 20s, which is perfect for a junior officer. So I decided to use him, and he fits in really well, I think. So that's the command stand, and that's the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm getting really close to finishing these guys now. I literally have 2 units of infantry to do. I have 1 to tidy up and 1 to do from scratch, and literally less than a handful of command figures to do, and I'll actually finish the project. It's starting to get really close now. So I can feel the excitement welling up inside me, but it's going to be I'm going to have a lot of difficulty trying to show you guys the entire battalion, because it's really huge. I think there's 29 or 30 battalions of infantry, and a hell of a lot of other bits and pieces. So anyway, big thank you to some new subscribers, and I'm getting really close to the 500 now, and I'm about to run out of battery, so I'll cut it short. Hopefully catch you all in the next one, which hopefully won't be too long, and I'll catch you all later. Bye bye.